Thank you very much for waiting. Now it's at the scheduled time, so we'd like to start Honda Motor Company Limited's press conference on appointment of new president and CEO. First of all, thank you very much for taking the time to attend this press conference, though it came at a very short notice. Thank you very much. And also to those of you who are watching live broadcast, thank you very much as well. My name is Watanabe from Corporate Communication, facilitator for today. Then allow me to introduce the Honda Motors attendees. We have Mr. Takahiro Hachigo, Representative Director and President. Good to see you, everyone. And we have Mr. Toshihiro Mibe, Senior Managing Director. This is Mibe. Good to see you. And then I'd like to hand the microphone over to Mr. Hachigo. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Allow me to introduce myself once again. I am Hachigo. I would like to thank you for attending this press conference despite the very short notice. As already announced, at today's board meeting, it was decided that I will step down from presidency at the end of March. And Mr. Toshihiro Mibe, who currently serves as Senior Managing Director, will replace me as President from April 1st. I took over from my predecessor, Mr. Ito, in 2015. I took office at a time when the industry was starting to face transformation, dubbed once in a century. In order for Honda to continue to be a company expected by society to exist, Honda placed priority on solidifying its existing businesses and preparing for future growth. Regarding Honda's policy to solidify its existing businesses, Honda has carried out fundamental review of its business structure to strengthen mainly its automobile operations, such as changing its product development structure and optimizing its global production capacity. To this end, we have promoted fundamental reforms not bound by conventional methods. During my tenure, Honda had to make major decisions, such as ending production at plants such as Sayama and in Europe. Meanwhile, in China, which has become the world's largest market, we have almost doubled our production capacity in the past 5 years and globally have implemented selection and concentration. Thanks to such efforts, all preparation work needed to solidify existing businesses are in place. We are now entering into the phase of ensuring implementation of measures and harvesting the fruits of our efforts. On the preparing for future growth front, another important policy, again, we have gone back to the origin of Honda, which is our desire to contribute to society. We believe it is our responsibility as a mobility manufacturer to realize carbon neutrality in 2050 and realize zero traffic accident fatality in 2050. We also need to offer new values that turn our customers' dreams into reality. With these objectives in mind, we have also evolved extensively our R&D structure last April. Through such initiatives, Honda, I believe, is now ready to take off into a new era. To mark this new start, I will put Honda in the hands of a new leader with the hope that company-wide challenges will be made with a fresh mind. This is why I have decided to ask Mr. Mibe to become the next president. Carbon neutrality, zero traffic accident fatality, new value creation are by no means easy tasks. However, Mr. Mibe has great knowledge and can demonstrate strong leadership. He is a person who can for sure beat this challenging environment and offer new values unique to Honda. In closing, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for all the support you have given me over the past 6 years or so. Thank you very much. Under the new leadership, Honda will make a fresh start. We hope that we'll continue to hold expectations towards the company, and I call upon you for your continuing support. Once again, I thank you for all your support over the years. Thank you.
はい、八号さんありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Mr. Hachigo. Then I'd like to ask Mr. Mibe for his greeting. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mibe. This time, I am taking over the baton from Mr. Hachigo, and I will assume the position of president from April. I feel a great responsibility, but I will demonstrate my own strength to the full and strive to lead New Honda. As Mr. Hachigo mentioned earlier, Honda has been driving our efforts to solidify the foundation of existing businesses and prepare for future growth. And I believe my role is to further accelerate the preparation for future growth and to put plans into actions. This means that on the foundation of existing businesses which Mr. Hachigo has helped solidify, I will be constructing this building which is Honda's future. And this building must have the resilience to withstand the once-in-a-100 years period of dramatic changes. Specifically, as mentioned, toward our two goals of realizing carbon neutrality and zero traffic collision fatalities both by 2050, we will formulate and accelerate specific actions. Also, we will create and serve people with new values that help them enjoy life more and expand their life's potential. We will execute these initiatives so that we will continue to be a company which is expected by our customers and by the society to exist. As the president of R&D, I have been leading our work on new technologies and value creation, which help us build the Honda for the years 2030 and beyond. This time, as the president of Honda Motor, my intention is to give shape to the preparatory work to create products and experiences that are attractive to our customers. Attractive to our customers means things they choose precisely because the product is by Honda or are based on expectations of Honda, which means Honda is expected by our customers to exist. We will take on the challenge of creating such exciting products and services that will bring joy to our customers. However, in these times of dramatic changes, we understand that it is no easy task for Honda to continue to be a company expected by society to exist. In order to overcome this challenge, all of Honda together needs to go through major transformation at a great speed. If necessary to realize the new values envisaged by Honda sooner, we will, for example, consider use of external insight or potential alliances, among other actions, and make decisions without hesitation and put them into action. Now, I believe that I'm in charge of steering the company. I will pursue my responsibility as a challenger in a true Honda spirit. I look forward to your continued guidance and support. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much, Mr. Mibe. And now we'd like to proceed to Q&A. Those of you who have questions, please raise your hand. And once you're recognized, please state your name and affiliation and make clear to whom you're asking the question. Also, due to limited time, we'd like you to refrain from asking too many questions and limit your questions to 2 per person. Please raise your hand if you have any questions. The person up front. Inagaki from Asahi Shimbun. I want to ask one question to each one of you. Mr. Hachigo, well, you decided to step down at this timing. You said that you've determined to close down some of the factories, and I think you were just about to implement the measures that you wanted to take. Why did you make this decision now? And also, after April, you will not stay at Honda. Can you explain the reason why you will not retain a position at Honda? And also to Mr. Mibe. Well, in the automobile industry, electrification, and also there is a need to address electrification and other measures to strengthen your automobile operations. What are the plans that you have? Well, allow me to first respond. Why at this timing I decided to hand over the presidency to Mr. Mibe. Well, my predecessor, Mr. Ito, handed me the baton and in 2015, and I have been working to solidify our existing businesses and prepare for future growth. But CASE and MAS, new technologies and new services are emerging in this industry. And from last year, we have been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic plus natural disasters. So I personally have experienced a number of challenges over the past 6 years during my tenure. And especially when in regards to strengthening or solidifying our existing businesses and preparing for future growth. We had to review the production capacity of our plants, and also we had to look over our R&D structure so that effort can be focused on R&D. And it was fortunate that we made these reforms before COVID-19. And I think that we have already completed the preparation work necessary. And that is the reason why I decided to hand over the baton to Mr. Mibe. Now, Mr. Mibe, he has much more vitality than me. He is a person who can truly take action. So, well, to begin with, he has an expert on environmental technology and also new areas such as energy. And so, given this background, I think that he can harvest the fruits from the past efforts. From last April, he has become Senior Managing Director, and together with me, he has been looking into the future direction that Honda should be taking, and that is the reason for this decision. And I will be stepping down and leaving Honda. And in the past, Honda did have positions as advisor. But from June of this year, we will change our governance structure. So it is in June that I will be leaving Honda. And therefore, I believe it will not be necessary for me to assume the position as director or advisor. And that is the reason I decided to leave in June. And it's not because there are any problems, and it's just because of the governance structure evolution that I decided to leave Honda in June this year. Mr. Mibe, about electrification and how we are going to strengthen the automobile operation structure. As Mr. Hachigo has said, that Honda has been working to solidify our existing businesses, and as a result, we are seeing improvements in our numbers. I think that we have made great headway. So what am I going to do, for example, is often said DX, digital transformation. Well, because I was at R&D, in terms of R&D, we have to make efficient the R&D activities, and we've made a great deal of improvement. But here at Aoyama, as Honda Motor Corporation, I think that DX should not be done just for the sake of enhancing efficiency, but also to change the way we work. So there's a lot of room to change. It's not just automobile operations, but still, I think that there are a number of things that need to be done regarding DX. and also electrification. Well, in a short period of time, it's very difficult to describe what we're trying to do. But as Mr. Hachiko has said, including technical details, there are a number of challenges ahead of us. I understand this to be the case. It's not just the case that we should come up with products which can be called EVs, of course, in terms of products, but we also have to think about procurement or production strategies and how to sell at the same time. All these things need to be done at once, and it's only after we do that we have this EV product and business viability. And at Honda, if we just look inwards, this is going to be difficult to achieve. We have to have infrastructure in place at the right timing. At the same time. So we need to accelerate our efforts and also look at the timing of when the infrastructure will be in place so as to make it a viable business. We have to produce in large volume, and it will be some tens of percentage of our business, and so I think that this is something that we have to work on. We don't have a silver bullet. We have to think about all the elements that I talked about in order to come up with the best strategy for Honda.
Thank you very much. Then someone else with questions? Okay, my name is Hanada from Nikkei newspapers. Talking about the electrification, that's a bit related. Your mission, Mr. Mibe, I think you need to promote the electrification, but you talk about Honda's uniqueness. What do you want to protect as Honda uniqueness, and what do you think you should be changing going forward? And also, I'd like to ask Mr. Hachigo as well. Earlier, you said now that you are ready to hand the position over. But we all suffering from the pandemic toward the end of your tenure. So if there are some things you would have wanted to do, let us know. Okay, Mr. Mibe, first of all. Well, Honda's uniqueness, I think this is something that I've been asked in many occasions, so I always give the same answer. Honda's uniqueness, of course, it's not pointing at the Honda's products themselves. Like it is our approach to go for new values or societal issues, or maybe against strong competitors, the corporate position approach, how we stand to resolve those issues and the competitors, I think that approach is Honda's uniqueness, our approach. So we had the Isle of Man TT race, Formula One, taking on that challenge years ago. Those are examples. And also more recently, eliminating air pollution, and then not more recently, carbon neutrality. So the issues change over time. However, we have always been taking our stance against those, so taking on the challenge, and then through those processes, we create products. We arrive at products which people might find very unique on Honda. So, it's not that we just come up with simply the product and say, hey, this is Honda. But now this time we're talking about realizing the carbon neutrality and zero car accidents, fatalities. So those are probably examples. So I believe it is Honda's mission to realize those early on. Okay, then Mr. Hachigo. Okay, in response to your questions. Well, so things I would have wanted to do. I would say I have done everything that I hope to do, and I don't feel that I left out doing anything. Particularly April of last year, we came up with a new structure for R&D. So we changed revamped the product technology setup for automobiles. So we built the structure that I believed in. And then also our top management members have been able to come to an agreement about how we go about things. And then even though our pandemic started, in the second and the third quarters, we are starting to see some results from what we have been doing. so that we hope to be able to accelerate the electrification. And then now is the good time to hand the presidency position. So to answer your questions, I have nothing left that I've wanted to do. And we hope that he will continue with the actions that we have laid the foundation for. Thank you.
Next question, please. Person over there.
はい、すいません。オートモーティブニュースのハンスです。
Automotive News, Hans. This is a question to Mr. Mibe. I'm sorry for my poor Japanese, but I hope that you'll understand. So if you have to choose three things which you think that you have to do, what are the three most important goals for you? And also, you have an alliance with General Motors. Mr. Mibe, for you, why is this alliance important to you or to Honda? And why do you need to have an alliance with General Motors? So why is the alliance important, and why is there the need for the alliance? Mr. Mibe, please. Am I supposed to list three? Oh, could be two. Well, we are undergoing major change, dramatic change, once in 100 years. And what Honda should be doing? Well, yes, we know what we need to do on the technology front, and as Mr. Hachiko has said, I have been working with him on the management team for the past year. So as a management, I believe I understand what needs to be done. So what specifically, rather than saying that, what Honda wants to be. We want to make Honda into what we want to be as soon as possible. Time is crucial, especially these days. And the society that Honda wants to realize, if it can be realized early on, as I mentioned in my speech, for example, I would opt to use alliances so as to accelerate the process, or we could rely on outside experts to accelerate the process. Well, in the past, we said everything will be done within Honda, and this was Honda's uniqueness. But if we are to do that now, I personally think that it is still possible to do so, but it required time. And rather than you choosing such an option, given the fact that time is one of the top priority issues that we need to address, it would be better for us to try to accelerate the process by relying on outside knowledge. And recently, once you go out, and people say Honda is losing its vitality. And so I think that we need to portray our uniqueness. That is what I think. Well, I'm not talking specifically about products, but I try to explain why Honda is challenging such and such issues. We have to explain why we have set certain goals. And I want to try to make this clear so that we can come up with not just products, but services which carry a Honda identity. That is what I want to do. I think those two, have I satisfied your question? I hope so. Is it okay? That's good. Thank you.
Okay, then the next question. The gentleman in the dark jacket, please. My name is Hirono from GG Tsushin. To Mr. Mibe, so Mr. Hachigo introduced you as an expert on environmental technology. So what do you think your strengths are? And then how do you think you can contribute your expertise into the profitability of the automobile business? And then another thing is when did you get communicated about your appointment to presidency, and how did you feel about it then? Okay, my own strength, is that what you're asking about? Oh, well, I wonder. Well, rather, during such times of changes, I think I'm rather suited for times like this. The thing is, rather than the very stable times, I think I can myself existing, and then in this position at the times of such changes, I'm excited by that. And then now I get to be in the top position at this company. Of course, while I think it's a big responsibility, I'm at the same time very excited. So in that sense, I think I'm very strong under pressure. Well, let me add something here. Let me add, please. Okay, Mr. Mibe is actually, in terms of his career, he has been working on this environmental technology, new areas like energy, and also he's very sensitive to what's happening in the world around us. So he has a very good intuition, senses to take actions in response to what's happening out there. So, he himself said it, that he's no good unless the changes are happening around himself. So that's why that's part of the reason why I wanted to appoint him. Okay, well, that means if it's a stable times, I'm not that much motivated. That's what it could mean. So now, this time that we're in, it's very demanding and difficult. But I can imagine, draw many different scenarios, and we can think about, what kind of values we can create in such times like that. I'm very much motivated. So with your guidance and support, I'm sure I can do this job. Oh, and then, when I was told about this, okay, I think from at the beginning of this year, I was told by Mr. Hachigo, and we have been working together already. So what should I say? Oh, the time has come for me, huh? Well, so Mr. Hachigo. Well, the thing is, and I have been, both have been as part of the executive council, so I already knew what was going on. And then the existing businesses are in a very solid, stable condition now. So we're going to make the new step forward. And then, could you take the lead in that? And then right there, I said, okay, I accept it, right there on the spot. Okay, thank you.
Next question, please. The person at the end, yes, the lady. Shiraki from Reuters. How do you do? Mr. Hachigo, and also to Mr. Mibe, I'd like to ask you questions. Mr. Kuraishi, as Executive Vice President, is going to retain his position, and are you going to change it to a company with 3 committees? So what is the reason why you asked Mr. Kuraishi to stay on? This is a question to Mr. Hachigo and to Mr. Mibe. How are you going to team up with Mr. Kuraishi? What division of roles will you establish between the two of you? And also about the transition to a company with 3 committees. You have the CEO, COO, CFO, but why at this timing you have set up this new structure? Mr. Kuraishi will continue to stay on as Executive Vice President next fiscal year. The reason is because, I have been teaming up with Mr. Kuraishi over the years, and also in the Executive Council, we together have made a number of decisions, not just the two of us, but we have made decisions together. And Mr. Mibe will join the team from April. Before actually becoming Senior Managing Director within the Executive Council as advisor, he was working with us, but he, as an Executive Council member, knows about the direction we are pursuing. And rather than changing all the representative directors, I thought that there was need for consistency. And that is the reason why I asked Mr. Kuraishi to stay on as Executive Vice President. Now, why at this timing are we changing our corporate governance structure? Well, in regards to that question, I think we need speed. We have to be speedy in making decisions. And therefore, we have decided to make this transition to a company with 3 committees. We want to separate our management supervisory function and business execution function. The business execution will execute, and management supervisory function will rely on outside experts to try to ensure that we have a firm mid to long-term vision in place. We thought that it would not be good for just Honda people to look into this, but instead have outsiders supervise. So we've decided, therefore, to change our corporate governance structure. And at this timing, we believe that we can establish a new structure, and this is the reason for this transition. Executive Vice President Kuraishi, he was at one time also responsible for automobile operations, and I was working with him at that time. And ever since, we have been thinking about how to restructure and strengthen our automobile operations. We had seriously debated this between us back then. I think we have a common understanding of what the issues are and what needs to be done into the future. By working together, I believe we can accelerate the process in place to make Honda even better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Due to the time restriction, the next question will be the last that we can take. The gentleman in the center back. My name is Mizutori from a daily automotive newspaper, Nikkan Jidosha. So one question to Mr. Hachigo and another one for Mr. Mibe. The first question for Mr. Hachigo, this might overlap with the earlier question. Mr. Mibe is 59, and then currently Mr. Kuraishi will remain in the current position. So looking at the Honda's history, I think if you look at the age brackets of top management, they were rather on the senior end. So I was just wondering if you have any doubt about it or concern about it in this changing times. And to Senior Managing Director Mr. Mibe, what was the most biggest or the most interesting task that you've done? And then as you try to push for carbon neutrality, if there is any direction for engine development, if you can share with us, please let me know. Okay, thank you. About this personnel changing for the officers and directors, the top management age. Well, age is one scale. However, rather than the physical age, I want to focus more on how much vitality people have and how much of a dream they can work toward. That's my focus. So I don't want to say, we don't want to make decision based on, okay, he's in such and such age, but rather than that, I want to focus on what kind of aspirations they have. So they are, in a way, mental age. So I believe Mr. Mibe is very young at heart. And then also for Mr. Kuraishi as well, I can say the same thing. So that's my belief. So I don't think that the whole top management is aging, and if you ask me that is giving any negative impact, I would say no. So That's why we came to this decision and this appointment. That's my answer. Okay. I think you asked two questions, right? Toward carbon neutrality, what was that? The direction for engine development, is that what you said? Okay, so my two questions. The other one, what was the job that you did left the biggest impression on you? The most the one that left a big impression on me, I have been in the field of engine development all these years, and when the air pollutions became a big issue back then, particularly in California, they were working to the ULEV, SULEV, SLEV, those lower emission vehicles, so the emission regulations were becoming more and more strict. So the development was having difficulty catching up with it. I have working in that area, but now toward the super ultra low emission, when we were working on that, the engine, the emission from the engine was cleaner than the air it took in. I saw the numbers, and can this be possible? And we looked through at the analyzers, and then because in the air there is a CO and hydrocarbon sort of background NOx and all that. There's a background level, but so the output from the engine was cleaner than the one the engine it took in. So as an engineer, it's not that anyone praised us, but I thought, oh, we got here, we made it. So when I saw those numbers, I was really amazed and moved. That's the impression I had. And speaking more about the external issues, when the V6 engine we supplied to GM, that was some years ago. So I was part of that project as well. So not only engine supply, but there were some discussions, including other things other than just the engine supply. And then to reduce the emission level, they come up with the direct catalyzer. So because this uses platinum, rhodium, and all those precious metals, how much, the emission regulation goes up. But then the precious metals used, the prices go up, and if you use more and more of that, that's going to get more expensive. We had some doctors at GM, and then against the targets that Honda set, GM came up with something that was far less than what we had envisaged. It was not about technology, but they did a calculation, the total volume of cars, and then the total volume of precious metals they can excavate, and then that's how they set the prices. But we didn't have that thought at all. Honda could focus only on just technological research and development. That's what we focused on, trying to reduce emission, but they were trying to reduce emission, but just rely on that different perspective. So we thought that maybe we shouldn't rely just on ourselves. But since then, I've been thinking suppliers and OEM, of course, we should work with external parties as well. So that's one thing that left a bigger impression on me throughout my career in Honda. And then about carbon neutrality, the engine, direction of engine, that's something we are still discussing right now. I mean, are engine going to disappear? We do talk about it. I don't think the engines will disappear, no. So, but does that mean it's going to be still remain 100% all engines? No. We will have our carbon neutral fuels, like biofuels as well. Those will be available. So in a set with the fuel and the combustion engine, internal combustion engine, I believe there's a possibility that carbon neutrality can be realized. So it's not a yes or no question at this point in time. So I think it's too early to answer anything about what's going to happen with the engine. So depending on how you use the engine, that's possible with the current engine as well. But that doesn't mean I'm negating electrification. So that would be the mainstream we need to continue to work on at the same time.
And with this, we'd like to end the Q&A. Thank you very much.
なお弊社のホームページに
Now, on our
記載している
website,
内容のプレスリリースを
we will
させ
be
ていただいておりますので、どうぞご確認
we
くだ
have
さい。
this press release, so please access our homepage to look at the press release. And with this, we'd like to conclude this press conference. We thank all of you who joined us online as well.